Welcome to About Mansfield. It's your audio newspaper. I'm Steve Casillo, broadcasting from the Somark Studios, along with the About Mansfield news team. Colleen Daniel, she's out there in Studio West. This is the July 23rd, 2025, 281st edition. Coming up, it's Mansfield News, Talk, and Information.
And a little later in the episode, you will have a chance to win a $25 gift card to a Mansfield restaurant of your choice with our Mansfield Trivia Question, courtesy of Joe Jenkins Insurance.
Let's take a look at the stories we're covering this week.
Mansfield woman among 3 still missing after deadly Kerr County flood.
Local gun dealer challenges federal sales ban.
Mansfield ISD to host 10th annual back-to-school bash.
Crave Hot Dogs announces closure. And in sports, North Texas SC dominates SKC II in a 4-1 win.
And in the talk segment, Steve concludes his lights out interview with Texas Rangers Hall of Fame broadcaster Eric Nadel. We are Mansfield's only source for news, talk, and information. This is About Mansfield.
Hey there, it's Luke from Cool Hand Electric. Are you tired of dealing with plugs or lights that just won't cooperate? Well, don't fret. Give us a call. Worried about power outages or surges damaging your precious electronics? We've got you covered. Whether it's a whole house generator or surge protection, our solution-oriented Cool Hands are ready to tailor the perfect option that suits your needs and budget. At Cool Hand Electric, excellence is still cool.
Cool Hand, Cool Hand, Cool Hand, where excellence is still cool.
This summer, be the super parent of the season with the Hawaiian Falls Staycation Splash Pass. For just $49.99, get unlimited visits to your home park all summer long. Skip the hassle of travel. It's time for heart-racing slides, relaxing lazy rivers, wave pool adventures, and unforgettable memories right in your own backyard. All of the fun, none of the fuss. Make this the summer they'll never forget with the Staycation Splash Pass from Hawaiian Falls. Get yours now at hfalls.com. That's hfalls.com.
Looking for a night out that's anything but ordinary? Step into Vault Seafood and Steakhouse, Mansfield's premier upscale dining experience. Savor perfectly aged steaks, fresh seafood, and handcrafted cocktails, all served in a stunning atmosphere. Want more? Enjoy private dining rooms and a cigar lounge for that extra touch of luxury. Vault delivers exceptional flavor in a one-of-a-kind atmosphere. Located at Matlock and Country Club, Vault Seafood and Steakhouse. Unforgettable nights. Unmatched taste.
Hi, this is Vanessa Ramirez, Assistant City Manager with the City of Mansfield, and you're listening to About Mansfield.
Welcome back to About Mansfield. This portion of the news is brought to you by Vault Seafood and Steakhouse.
A Mansfield woman is among 3 people still unaccounted for following the devastating flash flood that struck Kerr County on July 4th. City officials in Kerrville confirmed Sunday that Tiana Mabee, who was last seen at the HTR campground in Ingram, remains missing, along with 2 others. Mabee, known to friends and family as Ty, was among hundreds initially reported missing in the chaotic aftermath of the flood. Kerrville police say an extensive verification effort has reduced that number to 3 confirmed cases after investigators spent days cross-referencing reports with help from the Texas Department of Public Safety. Kerrville Police Public Information Officer Jonathan Lamb said Sunday that the process takes time, but it's essential to ensure that every lead is followed and every person is properly accounted for. The July 4th flood claimed 107 lives, making it one of the deadliest natural disasters in recent Texas history.
A Mansfield firearms dealer is at the center of a federal lawsuit challenging a decades-old restriction on interstate handgun sales. Elite Precision Customs, located on North Main Street next door to Legacy High School, argues that federal law unconstitutionally limits their ability to conduct handgun sales across state lines. Under current rules, a handgun purchase outside of a buyer's home state must be shipped to a federally licensed dealer in the buyer's home state before the transaction can be completed. The plaintiff says the regulation imposes unnecessary costs and delays on law-abiding citizens without advancing public safety. The case claims the law violates the Second Amendment. Although the restriction is now being challenged under an administration that publicly supports the Second Amendment protections, federal attorneys are defending the law. They argue it helps prevent prohibited individuals from obtaining firearms and aligns with a long-standing regulatory tradition. Government lawyers acknowledge the restriction burdens the right to bear arms, but it says it serves a legitimate public interest. The case could have wide-reaching implications for gun buyers and dealers across the country.
Mansfield ISD will host its 10th annual Back-to-School Bash on Saturday, August 2nd, from 7:30 a.m. to noon at the Center for Performing Arts on Debbie Lane. The event serves as the official kickoff to the 2025-26 school year and will feature free school supplies, backpacks, shoes, and student health services, including sports physicals, immunizations, and dental and vision exams. All services are available to Mansfield ISD students. To help with traffic flow, free shuttle buses will run from Legacy and Summit high schools beginning at 7:15 a.m. Families attending the event will receive a map to help locate activities, services, and student performances. No registration is needed to attend. However, to receive supplies, health services, or shoes, families must check in and provide student ID numbers. Students must be present to receive shoes. The event will also include games, bounce houses, obstacle courses, and campus booths for families to connect with schools and programs across the district. Again, the Mansfield ISD Back-to-School Bash is Saturday, August 2nd, from 7:30 a.m. until noon at the Center for the Performing Arts.
Crave Hot Dogs and Barbecue right here in Mansfield is closing its doors this week. The restaurant located at 121 West Debbie Lane will host a farewell celebration on Friday and Saturday, July 25th and 26th. From 6 to 9 p.m. It includes karaoke, music bingo, food and drinks while supplies last. Opened in January of 2024, the restaurant also featured 2 axe-throwing lanes. Franchise owners Mordecai and Dawn Thomas thank the community for its support and the memories made during their time in business. It's a poker for North Texas SC, and we'll talk about it because sports is next.
This summer, be the super parent of the season with the Hawaiian Fall Staycation Splash Pass. For just $49.99, get unlimited visits to your home park all summer long. Skip the hassle of travel. It's time for heart-racing slides, relaxing lazy rivers, wave pool adventures, and unforgettable memories right in your own backyard. All of the fun, none of the fuss. Make this the summer they'll never forget with the Staycation Splash Pass from Hawaiian Falls. Get yours now at hfalls.com. That's hfalls.com.
Hungry for bold flavor and a good time? Head on over to El Primo's to enjoy sizzling fajitas and their signature blue margarita. Enjoy weekend live entertainment and let the kids run wild with an outdoor play area and arcade. Planning a party? Multiple private rooms are available, including the all-new Parrot's Nest to make your event a success. Food, fun, and flavor for the whole family at El Primo's. Visit elprimos.net and bring your appetite. Located at Matlock and Country Club. El Primo's, where the locals go.
In sports, it's MLS Next Pro action. Friday night, North Texas SC earned a commanding 4-1 victory over Sporting Kansas City II on the road in Kansas City. Forward Sam Sarver led the way with 4 goals, marking the first poker or 4-game goal in North Texas SC franchise history. Sarver now leads the MLS Next Pro Golden Boot race with 14 goals on the season. He also becomes the first North Texas player to notch a hat trick since 2019. Homegrown midfielder Anthony Ramirez recorded 2 assists in the match, moving up into the top 3 in club history for total assists and taking the lead in game-winning assists. The win marks the first time this season that NTSC has scored 4 goals in a single game. They now hold a record of 8 wins, 7 losses, and 3 draws. Next up, North Texas SC will return to home to face Club Deportivo Tapatio from Mexico's Liga Expansión MX in the next MLS Next Pro Invitational. That match is set for Saturday, July 26th, 7:30 p.m. at Toyota Stadium. And that, my friends, is a look at sports. If you have a comment about the show, the news, whatever's on your mind locally, the good, the bad, the ugly, doesn't matter. You can reach us by voicemail at 817-435-2938. Think of it as your audio letter to the editor, 817-435-2938. By the way, since About Mansfield launched over 5.5 years ago, we have featured 3 community liners in every episode, just like this one.
Hi, this is Daryl Perez, and you're listening to About Mansfield.
If you would like to be a part of the rotation, it's very simple. Just find a quiet location, grab your phone, and record the following. Hi. State your name and your title, and conclude it with,
and you're listening to About Mansfield.
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 Then email the audio file to info@aboutmansfield.com. We would love to hear your voice on the show. This coming Sunday, July 27th, is National Creme Brulee Day, a time to celebrate the silky, sophisticated French dessert with that signature crack of caramelized sugar on top. Creme brulee, which translates to burnt cream in French, dates back to the 17th century. It's made of just a few simple ingredients: heavy cream, egg yolks, sugar, and vanilla. That's it. But the magic is the contrast between the cool, creamy custard and the crisp, torched sugar crust. Whether you're enjoying it at a fine restaurant, bringing one home from Market Street, or trying your hand with a kitchen torch at home, Sunday is your excuse to indulge. So grab a spoon, give it that satisfying tap, because nothing says treat yourself like a perfect creme brulee. My favorite dessert.
Coming up after the break, we turn the page to the features section.
I'm Angel Biasatti, and today we'll share quick, practical tips to help you beat the heat on Methodist Mansfield News to Know.
In this week's Cocktail of the Week, we're sailing to the pristine Atlantic paradise that tastes like adventure on turquoise waters.
And we will talk with a hospice executive in 40 Under 40.
We are Mansfield's only source for news, talk, and information. I'm Colleen Daniel, and this is About Mansfield.
This portion of the news was brought to you by El Primo's, where the locals go.
Hey there, it's Luke from Cool Hand Electric. Are you tired of dealing with plugs or lights that just won't cooperate? Well, don't fret. Give us a call. Worried about power outages or surges damaging your precious electronics? We've got you covered. Whether it's a whole house generator or surge protection, our solution-oriented Cool Hands are ready to tailor the perfect option that suits your needs and budget. At Cool Hand Electric, excellence is still cool.
Cool Hand, Cool Hand, Cool Hand, where excellence is still cool.
At Methodist Mansfield Medical Center, we've been caring for our home team for over 15 years. Today, you'll find award-winning physicians on the medical staff, advanced neurosurgery, a Level 3 trauma center, critical care for newborns, and comprehensive orthopedic care. Methodist Mansfield, delivering the care our friends, neighbors, and home team depend on. That's community, and why so many people trust Methodist.
Congratulations to Mark Walker, who is no stranger to our trivia questions. He knew that the business that occupies the C.A. Smith building is optometrist Dr. Robert A. Smith and his wife Ann. By the way, Dr. Smith has recently restored the building at 126 North Main Street back to its original 1800s design. Go check it out. When we come back, this week's trivia question. I'm Colleen Daniel, and this is About Mansfield.
Hi, this is Joe Jenkins with Joe Jenkins Farmers Insurance, specializing in auto, home, commercial, and life insurance. I was born and raised here in Mansfield, Texas. We're active in the community, and Mansfield's a town we really care about. Our office has over 30 years' experience in the insurance industry, and we're passionate about what we do and about customer service. For a free quote, please visit our website at joejenkinsinsurance.com or give us a call at 817-472-6058. Once again, that website is joejenkinsinsurance.com.
It is time right now, right here, right now, for the highly coveted, wildly popular About Mansfield Trivia Question. If you are the first person to email the correct answer to trivia at aboutmansfield.com. You will receive a $25 gift card to a Mansfield restaurant of your choice. It's brought to you by Joe Jenkins Insurance. Whether you're looking for homeowners, auto, commercial, or any other type of insurance, Joe has helped Mansfield area residents understand the insurance coverage that best fit their needs since 2010. And you can find him on the internet at joejenkinsinsurance.com. Colleen, educate me.
Well, Steve, the subject of today's question grew up in Mansfield, starting her education at Mansfield Elementary School. After completing high school in Fort Worth in 1921, she pursued higher education at Bishop College in Marshall, Texas, and later earned a master's degree in education from the University of Colorado at Boulder. For 49 years, she dedicated herself to MISD as a teacher and principal, impacting 3 generations of students. In recognition of her contributions, a school has been named in her honor. This week's question is, who is the person I just described? Email your answer to trivia@aboutmansfield.com. Again, name the person I just described. Good luck, and thanks to Joe Jenkins Insurance for the gift card.
Hi, I'm Dr. Tondra Grimble with Stim It Up Sports, and you're listening to About Mansfield.
Welcome back to About Mansfield, your audio newspaper. Let's open up the features section. Angel Biasatti is here with tips on how to beat the heat in Methodist Mansfield News to Know. Angel?
Let's be honest, July in North Texas isn't just hot. It's like putting your head inside an oven. And whether you're heading out for a ball game, a walk, or just running errands, it's important to protect yourself from heat stroke, dehydration, and sunburn. Let's dive into a few simple ways to stay cool and safe. First, let's know the signs of heat exhaustion and heat stroke. If you feel dizzy, nauseous, weak, or suddenly stop sweating, it's a red flag. Find shade immediately, hydrate, and seek help if symptoms worsen. Hydration is your best defense. Drink water before, during, and after being outside. Sports drinks can help replace electrolytes if you're sweating heavily. But skip those sodas and alcohol. They make dehydration worse. Here's one of my favorite summer survivor tips. Take a bandana or a cooling towel. Soak it in water the night before and then freeze it. The next day, wrap it around your neck before going outside. It cools your body quickly and helps regulate your temperature. Protect your skin too. Use sunscreen with at least SPF 30 and reapply every 2 hours, especially if you're sweating or swimming. And don't forget the back of your ears, the back of your neck, and the tops of your feet, because they can burn too. Wear lightweight and light-colored clothing, a wide-brimmed hat, and sunglasses. And try to schedule outdoor activities before 10 or after 4 when the sun isn't as intense. At Methodist Mansfield, we care about your health, not just in the hospital, but out in the sunshine too. A little planning goes a long way to keep you and your loved ones safe this summer. Stay cool, stay hydrated, and take care of each other out there. I'm Angel Biasatti, reporting for About Mansfield Podcast.
Shaken or stirred, you know it's going to be good as Brian Certain serves up a tropical paradise in a glass in this week's Cocktail of the Week. Brian?
Today's cocktail is the Bermuda Breeze. It's a spirited, refreshing cocktail that pays homage to the island's rich rum heritage and tropical abundance. This drink combines dark rum, the spirit that fueled sailors and privateers throughout Bermuda's colorful history, with spicy ginger and luscious island fruits to create a cocktail that's simultaneously bold and refreshing, much like Bermuda itself. So what does it take to make this cocktail special? Well, 2 ounces of a dark Bermudian rum. Gosling's Black Seal rum is the quintessential Bermudian spirit, and it's the authentic choice for this cocktail. The rich dark rum has been produced in Bermuda since 1857 and is known for its robust molasses character with notes of caramel and vanilla and a hint of spice. If Gosling's isn't available, another quality dark rum like Myers or Appleton Estate can substitute, though the flavor profiles will differ slightly. Second, we're going to need fresh ginger for both a ginger simple syrup and for garnish. Ginger provides warming spice that balances the sweetness of the fruit components. We'll use it in two forms, infused in a spirit and as a garnish. The spicy kick of ginger is historically valued by sailors for its stomach-settling properties during long voyages, making it particularly appropriate for a Bermuda-themed cocktail. And then island fruits. We're going to combine the fruits that grow in Bermuda's tropical climate. We're going to use pineapple juice, about 1 ounce, fresh lime juice, about a 1/2 ounce, and a passion fruit puree, about a 1/2 ounce. Then we're going to add ginger syrup. This adds sweetness and spice. To combine, can you guess what we're going to need? We're going to need, yes, 1 cup of water, and can you say it with me? 1 cup of sugar. And then about 3-inch piece of fresh ginger, peeled and sliced in a saucepan. Bring the water to a simmer, stirring until the sugar dissolves, and then remove from heat, cover and let steep for about 30 minutes, and then strain through a fine mesh sieve, cool completely, and refrigerate until you need it. We're going to need about 2 dashes of Angostura bitters per cocktail. And then garnish options, we're going to need candied ginger, pineapple wedge, a lime wheel, and possibly even a mint sprig. And then lots and lots of crushed ice. Glassware, a double old-fashioned glass or a rocks glass or a tradition Bermuda rum swizzle glass, which is similar to a hurricane glass, would be very ideal for this cocktail. The latter showcases the beautiful amber colors while providing room for generous garnishes. Now, how are we going to prepare this beautiful cocktail? Well, we're going to begin by preparing the ginger syrup in advance, typically 1 to 2 days, and it will be perfectly ready for you when you have your party. Then fill the chosen glass with ice, crushed ice if you want a more traditional tropical presentation, or large cubes for a more modern approach. And then in a cocktail shaker, combine 2 ounces of Gosling's Black Seal rum, 1 ounce of pineapple juice, 1/2 ounce of fresh lime juice, 1/2 ounce of passion fruit puree, and 1/2 ounce of your prepared ginger syrup. Add the 2 dashes of Angostura bitters, fill with ice, and shake vigorously for 15 to 20 seconds until well chilled and properly diluted. Then strain the cocktail over fresh ice into your prepared glass. Then for the garnish, skewer a piece of candied ginger with a small wedge of pineapple. Rest this across the top of the glass and perhaps add a sprig of fresh mint for the aromatic effect and the visual appeal. The distinctive black rum that defines Bermudian spirits culture was originally stored in champagne bottles sealed with black wax, hence the name Black Seal. Bermuda is also the birthplace of the dark and stormy cocktail that we've covered here many times. It's a simple yet perfect combination of dark rum and ginger beer that sailors would drink to ward off seasickness. This cocktail is so closely associated with Gosling's that the name Dark and Stormy is actually trademarked by the company. Our Bermudian breeze takes inspiration from these traditions while incorporating a little more tropical fruit that grow on the island, creating a more complex, fruit-forward variation that's perfect for summer sipping. The Bermudian breeze captures the essence of this unique Atlantic island paradise. The rich historical depth of the rum, the warming spice of the ginger, the bright tropical fruit notes come together to create a cocktail that's as multifaceted as Bermuda itself. So whether you're dreaming of exploring shipwrecks, lounging on pink sand beaches, or sailing those famous turquoise waters, this cocktail brings a taste of Bermudian adventure to your glass. As always, I'm open to hear your take and input. You can always reach me at brian@bourbongospel.com. And until next week, as Mark Twain said, too much of anything is bad, but too much whiskey is barely enough. Reporting for the About Mansfield podcast, I'm Brian Certain.
The Mansfield Business Alliance has released their 40 under 40 list of executives, entrepreneurs, everyday people who are under the age of 40 years old who are making a difference here in the community, the next generation of leaders. And here in the studio, she's the nurse manager of the Neurotrauma Intensive Care Unit, the ICU unit at Methodist Mansfield Medical Center. In this role, she's been instrumental in expanding the hospital's neuroscience services, including the development of the thrombectomy program. We'll ask her about that, as well as the enhancement of the EEG program and the establishment of the Neurocritical Care Unit. Her leadership and contributions have been recognized through various accolades, such as D Magazine Excellence in Nursing Award and inclusion in the Texas Hospital Association's 12 Days of Healthcare Heroes. We welcome to the studio 40 Under 40, Rachel Cochran. Welcome to About Mansfield.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And congratulations on 40 Under 40.
Thank you.
How long have you been with Methodist Mansfield?
I started with Methodist Mansfield in 2016 in the intensive care unit at the bedside.
And I mentioned in the intro the EEG. It has a really long name. I couldn't pronounce it. Why don't you pronounce it for us?
Yes, it's electroencephalogram.
Electroencephalogram.
Mm-hmm.
Electroencephalogram. I can pronounce it. Very good. You've been chosen as one of the 40 under 40, and what does that mean to you?
It's definitely an honor to be recognized, especially with some of the peers that I have. I appreciate it. It's definitely not why I do what I do, but it's nice to be recognized.
Did you know that you were nominated, and really, did you see it coming?
I did know that I was nominated. I think this was Mansfield's first 40 under 40. And so I didn't know how many applicants there were or what chances I had. So I was definitely flattered to get that.
In your everyday life, you're working in the neuroscience, which it deals with the brain. Mm-hmm. And what's the hardest part of your job?
I think it's twofold. I think in a neurotrauma ICU, you encounter patients and families every day who have had a sudden traumatic event that's happened that's led them to be in our unit. And so finding a delicate balance of promoting a good, healthy work environment on the unit, as well as one that can be fun, where nurses want to work, coupled with the stresses of working in a really stressful and traumatic environment, that can be very difficult. So trying to find the fun, and there is, I think, the camaraderie. We call it trauma bonding in nursing. But when you have been through really traumatic things with each other and you've supported each other in those ways and gotten to connect with patients and their families in those ways as well, it's very rewarding.
Talk about a time where you feel you really made an impact, a time where maybe the end of a project or you've just finished with a patient and you go, wow, that was really cool. It was very impactful.
I think the growth of neurosciences at Methodist Mansfield is not something that's occurred overnight. Mm-hmm. We've been working on this journey since 2021. Here we are in 2025, and we're really starting to see the impact on our community. I think the first real time that I was taken back by a situation was a 44-year-old member of the community, a mom just like me, came in with a sudden acute stroke, and we were able to perform a thrombectomy procedure, which is a clot removal in an active stroke, and it literally within 20 minutes of her procedure, she started improving. And we watched this woman discharge from our hospital in less than 72 hours. She had come in with total paralysis of one side of her body, facial drooping, and the inability to speak. And about 72 hours later, she was discharged from the hospital and was later the next day at her kid's basketball game. And, I live in this community. community. And my kids play sports, and I know people in this community, obviously. And so just to see the impact that we had directly on someone like me in their 40s, a mom that had this kind of freak thing happened. And when we were able to return her to her family without a lifelong disability is impactful.
Wow. You're knee deep in your career. How do you maintain? You're also a mom, and how do you work-life balance? How do you maintain it?
Well, it's laughable to think that you can do all of these things and do all of them well. I think, like every working mom, and working parent, I think you just kind of try to keep your head above water. I focus on my kids and try to, instill in them, the important virtues and hope that they will be good people. That's what I'm trying for, right?
Sure.
But in my work, it's very important to me. There are a lot of things that can change in a split second, and I've got to be available to my staff as well. And so explaining to my kids what I do and letting them know the importance and value in that as well is important. But just like all parents, I think I just try to do my best.
And your kids are understanding of what you do.
I mean, to a certain extent,
Can they pronounce EEG?
No, there's no electroencephalograms happening at the dinner table.
Okay.
But yeah, they are good kids though, and they try to understand what mom does. On
your way working up to where you are today, who are some of the people that have influenced you in your career?
Wow, there's a lot. There are a lot. There are some pretty awesome ICU nurses that I have worked with. I talked to you about trauma bonding. It's a real thing.
Yeah.
And that's something that I experienced as well. Nursing is one of those fields where you would not ever be successful without your predecessors, without the people who precept you, without the people who pull you in and teach you lessons every step of the way. I would say I had a very impactful leader who really motivated me, I think, to just think outside the box, to keep the focus definitely on the important things, but also to keep your eye on fun.
Yeah.
I think.
Because if it's not fun, why do it?
Yeah, you have to find the joy in what you're doing. You can do really important things that are really important for a lot of people, but if it doesn't keep you energized and, excited, I think you lose that spark.
Well, because if it's not fun, it becomes work. It becomes tedious.
Yeah.
I come in here and I talk to people like you every day. And it's fun.
Yeah.
And it's like, I can't wait to get to the studio to who am I going to talk to today?
Yeah.
And you got to have that fun.
Yeah.
This is a two-part question, but they're related. Let's go back to 12-year-old Rachel.
Okay.
Do you have any advice now of grown-up Rachel to 12-year-old Rachel? And also, your answer may be the same for both. Do you have any advice for younger people who are interested in your field?
Yeah, I think so. 12-year-old Rachel was obsessed with musical theater. Probably not.
Nothing wrong with that.
And I still am to an extent. I think that I don't know that I would have much to tell 12-year-old Rachel, because I think that the reason why I ended up where I am is all the different things that I have done and experienced and different journeys that I went on to get here. So I don't know that I would tell her anything. I would let her just experience. But for, kids who are smarter than I am, I feel like the, youth today, there's a lot of focus on growth mindset. That phrase never came into my speaking at that age, but they sure do talk about it now and talk about, what career pathway they're choosing at that young age. I would tell any young person interested in nursing to explore all the different avenues, because there are so many different things that you can do in nursing. But I think that one thing people don't think about is how hard it is. And you really have to take inventory on your ability to deal with really stressful situations, your ability to be able to handle all the things that come with nursing, because they call us a nurse, but we are also our patient's therapist or their family's therapist at times. We are at times the, case manager trying to help them with resources outside of the hospital. We're the physical therapist trying to get them up out of their bed. I think nurses do a little bit of everything. So I would just encourage young people who are interested in it to explore all the different avenues and make sure that that's something that they're, really wanting to get into, because it's a hard profession as well.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
I bet. Not all heroes wear capes.
Right. Yeah.
There you go. I'm, as we conclude this interview, just going to open up the microphone to you if you want to give any shout outs, any last words of advice, anything that's on your mind. Rachel, the microphone is yours.
Yeah. This podcast is for Mansfield. It's about Mansfield. I would tell the people of Mansfield that there's a lot of exciting things happening at Methodist Mansfield Medical Center. We are in a constant state of growth. We're very, very acutely aware of how Mansfield is growing, and we want to be able to serve our population here in our community so that you don't have to drive to Dallas or Fort Worth to get care. And so I would invite people to come and visit us when we have a lot of community events that we do that are not related to being admitted.
Run with Heart
to the hospital. Yes,
we participate in Run with Heart.
And I was there. A lot of the leaders in the hospital participate in a lot of the things that we do. We enjoy serving our community and the way that we're able to grow and reach people here in Mansfield. So,
Rachel Cochran, 40 under 40. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks for being on About Mansfield.
Thank you.
We're back in 60 seconds with the conclusion of Steve's interview with Eric Nadel.
Imagine a city where innovation knows no bounds, where dreams take flight, and the future unfolds before your very eyes. Welcome to Mansfield, a beacon of growth and a testament to vision. In the heart of Mansfield, a remarkable transformation is underway. But it's not just about the physical landscape. It's about the spirit that drives us forward. A spirit of collaboration that bridges cultures, a spirit of entrepreneurship that fuels prosperity, and a spirit of community that binds us as one. Mansfield is more than just a place. It's a canvas where diversity paints the picture of progress. From art festivals that ignite creativity to tech hubs that redefine boundaries, this city celebrates every voice, every passion. Mansfield, where growth knows no limits and the vision is limitless. Brought to you by the unstoppable spirit of the Mansfield Economic Development Corporation.
I'm Sylvia Duncan, a 2025 finisher of the Boston Marathon, and you're listening to About Mansfield.
Welcome back to another segment of About Mansfield. I'm Steve Casillo as we make the transition from news to talk. And today we conclude our two-part interview with Rangers Hall of Fame broadcaster Eric Nadel. Now, if you missed last week's episode, here's a quick recap. Just minutes before we were set to record, the power went out in the building, leaving us in a dark studio. But Eric, what a pro. He didn't miss a beat, as he suggested that we go ahead and record the interview on my iPhone. Here's what took place. Enjoy. You're also a Spanish broadcaster.
Well, I was. I'm not doing any broadcasting anymore. I still can.
But why? Why did you even want to learn Spanish? And to the point where you could actually call a ball game in Spanish?
Yeah, it came from not being able to talk to the players. The Rangers in the late 80s started having an influx of players from Puerto Rico and Venezuela. They became very active in signing players from there. And we had Ruben Sierra as the first one who came up and couldn't speak any English and was immediately the best player on the team.
Sure.
And so I started thinking, it might be a good idea for me to learn Spanish because the teams didn't have translators then. The only way we could talk to him is if Jose Guzman was around, who was the one bilingual player on the team. If Guzman wasn't around, if he's pitching that day and he's off somewhere, we couldn't talk to Ruben. So I started taking Spanish lessons. I took private lessons for a couple of years. Then I started traveling in Latin America. And the Rangers around that time started broadcasting games in Spanish. They only had one broadcaster, Luis Mayoral. They didn't have the budget to hire a second guy. So Luis was a chain smoker. He could not make it through a broadcast without having a cigarette. So he needed to take a break in the middle of the game. And more than just a bathroom break where you can run out between innings.
Sure.
He needed to be able to go outside the ballpark, since by then most of the stadiums were non-smoking. And so he taught me how to do Spanish play-by-play. He said, give me the words you need, and I made a list of words that I need, and I'll give you the Spanish translation for it, and you can put the broadcast together. The thing about play-by-play is it's all present tense. You don't have complicated conjugations, which are what makes things really difficult for a beginner or even intermediate Spanish student, as I was.
Not recapping a play where he threw the ball from center field.
It was more just stick with what you see, what's happening. And then every now and then, however, Louis would be out smoking a cigarette somewhere and there would be a controversy. And now there are complex tenses involved. There was a play.
Como se dice umpire?
Yeah, arbitro.
Arbitro. Okay.
Arbitro. Like arbitrator.
Yeah.
But there was a play in Cleveland where there was an argument over whether a home run was fair or foul. And both managers were out there screaming at the umpire and they're gesturing. And so I'm having to say, if this and word that and say that kind of stuff in Spanish. And I'm sure I just totally mangled it. And anybody listening must have thought, why are they letting this guy broadcast in Spanish? And Louis came running back in. He heard the crowd going crazy.
Oh, no.
He came running back in with a half-lit cigarette, to bail me out there and
I got
figure it out. But then what happened was a few years later, the Rangers hired a second Spanish announcer, and they didn't need me anymore. But I've traveled around Latin America, and I've been invited to do an inning of Spanish in Puerto Rico, in Mexico, in the Dominican Republic, and in Cuba. I've done at least part of a game in Spanish with their announcers, in those four places.
Speaking of announcers, you know what? Let's go to San Diego. Jerry Coleman.
Yeah.
Because I lived in San Diego.
Okay.
Growing up, that's who I listened to and of course there are numerous Colemanisms. There's a fly ball to center field. It knocked off his head, and the ball knocked off his head, and it's rolling in center field. Are there any Colemanisms that Eric Nadel?
Well, that's the favorite one. His head hit the wall and it's rolling back toward the infield. That's number one. But just the hang a star on that one, which he used to say on big plays, is great. I'll use it every now and then, just kind of as a tribute to Jerry. He was a wonderful guy. And when I was a kid listening to the Yankee games, he joined the Yankee broadcast crew after he retired as a player. So he was one of my idols growing up. And when I got this job and got a chance to meet him, it was a big deal for me. And he was really flattered that, I had talked about what it was like listening to him when he was doing the Yankee games, when he didn't think he was very good back then. He probably wasn't, but to me, it didn't matter. He's broadcasting the Yankee games.
Sure.
I loved him. And he was just the nicest guy. Everybody called him the Colonel because he had been a colonel in the Navy. And just a wonderful, wonderful guy. In spring training, we would play the Padres every year, and I would make sure to go over there, even if I wasn't doing the game, just so I could hang out with Jerry and spend some time with him. Just love the guy. And, he wasn't a classic broadcaster where you would study what he does in broadcast classes. Right. But the thing about baseball broadcasting is it's more about personality than anything else. It's just the nature of the game where it's so conversational. And people love Jerry because he was a warm, friendly, funny guy. And it all came across on the air. And you knew he was like your favorite uncle.
Oh, sure.
And that's what the best baseball broadcasters have. They have that kind of connection with the audience. And that's what we're all striving for when we're doing baseball.
You went from college baseball player to broadcaster. At what point did you feel that calling a baseball game was your calling?
Well, actually, I was a hockey announcer first.
Right.
And that's what I thought my calling was.
And then women's basketball.
I did women's basketball, the first women's pro basketball league in Dallas. I wanted to give that a shot. But that was really kind of a sidelight. Hockey was still the thing that I was focused on. In fact, when I was in high school and people would ask me, what are you going to do when you grow up? And I would tell them I was going to be the voice of the Rangers. And I meant the New York Rangers. I wasn't specific enough in my prayers. But when I started doing baseball, I had never done a baseball game. The Rangers hired me based on 4 games that I did into a tape recorder as an audition. And they were willing to take a chance on me largely because I was also willing to sell advertising for them.
Oh.
And I had been successful in selling advertising for a minor league hockey team that nobody went to see. And they figured, man, if he can sell advertising for those guys, he can probably make us some money. And I did. And that's why, in my opinion, they let me continue to broadcast games for 2 or 3 years before I was any good because I was selling advertising and bringing in money.
You started with the Rangers in 79, but you didn't start as a broadcaster till 95.
No, I was the number 2 broadcaster from 79 to 95.
Gotcha. Okay.
I wasn't the lead guy. I wasn't the voice of the Rangers, but I was the so-called color man, but I also did 3 innings of play-by-play.
Were you any good?
I was pretty good from about 82 or 83 on.
Wait, that's 3 years.
I really sucked for 3 years.
Do you remember your first broadcast with the Rangers?
Oh, like it was yesterday.
And okay.
First we did 1 game in spring training. It was over in Fort Myers. And I was so revved up to prepare for the game that I drove over to Fort Myers. It was about 3 hours from Pompano Beach where we were training at like 7 a.m. to make sure that I could visit with Whitey Herzog, the Kansas City manager, who we were playing that night, and as many of the Kansas City players as I could, because I thought that's what you really needed to do to broadcast a baseball game. John Miller, who was my partner, thought I was completely insane, but that's how I wanted to do it, just the way I would cram for a final exam. That's how I approached it. And then the first regular season game was at Tiger Stadium, opening day that year, and it was really cold. I hadn't brought an overcoat. I was freezing. I needed to go down to the field after the game to do an interview with Fergie Jenkins, who had just pitched the complete game. And I was so nervous that before I went down to the field, I went to the bathroom. I was standing at the urinal, and I couldn't zip my fly back up. And it was my pants were wide open, and I didn't have a coat. And Frank Gleber was my partner that day on television. And Frank had this big overcoat that was like Columbo's overcoat, or Hank Stram, Andy Granatelli, one of those beige
London
fog things. And it was about 4 sizes too big for me. But I grabbed that coat and went down and did my interview with Fergie Jenkins in this oversized trench coat because I had broken the zipper on my fly. That's what I remember most about my first major league regular season game.
When it comes to Rangers players, there have been countless defining moments. Nolan Ryan's 7th no-hitter, Adrian Beltre's 3,000th hit, Pudge Rodriguez winning the American League MVP, Benji Molina hitting for the cycle.
Mm-hmm. One of my favorites.
And those are all defining moments for the players. Does Eric Nadel have a defining moment? And it doesn't have to be baseball, just somewhere in your life, that one defining moment.
Oh, that's a really good question. When the Rangers won the pennant for the first time, when Alex Rodriguez struck out against Neftali Feliz and the stadium just exploded, the Rangers were finally going to the World Series for the first time. That was probably the most emotional that, I had ever been. And we knew the Rangers were going to win. They had a 5-run lead going to the 9th inning. And I knew that when the final out occurred, I was going to shut up and let the crowd tell this story for a while. That's what Vin Scully taught me to do.
Right.
What I didn't know is that I would be so overcome with emotion, I literally couldn't talk for about 45 seconds.
Wow.
I could not have said a word. I was just too blown away by the whole scene around me and the sheer joy, the exultation that was evident there. So that's really very memorable for me. And then the moment the Rangers actually won the World Series, that whole day I was walking around feeling that I was in a dream. The Rangers are going to win the World Series tonight. We're sure of it. This isn't like St. Louis where they had a 3-2 lead and then they wound up blowing it. They had a 3-1 lead. They had Eovaldi pitching that night. We were so sure they were going to win, and I just couldn't believe this was really going to happen. And I thought, well, Ranger fans must feel the same way. So when I call the final out, I need to say, you're not dreaming.
You're not
this
dreaming.
This isn't a dream, or you're not dreaming. And I wrote it down on a little piece of notepad from the Arizona Biltmore, and I stuck it in my wallet. And then when we went to the bottom of the ninth and the Rangers, had that lead, I pulled it out of my wallet and I put it in front of me. I made sure that when I called the final out, at some point, I would say, Ranger fans, you're not dreaming. And that's become my signature call.
I was going to say that's become an icon.
And now people are asking me to sign stuff, and they always want me to write on it, Ranger fans, you're not dreaming. I'm getting pictures sent to me in the mail and baseballs to sign and all kinds of other stuff. And everybody wants me to write, Ranger fans, you're not dreaming, which is, really cool. So that's the defining moment, of my career. And I had always thought my defining moments would be as the bearer of bad news. I called the ball that Nelson Cruz didn't catch. I called the ball that Yu Darvish didn't catch that cost him a perfect game when Marwin Gonzalez hit a ground ball through Darvish's legs with 2 outs in the 9th inning when he would have had a perfect game. That was my legacy until Ranger fans, you're not dreaming.
I always like to conclude the interview. Now I know the listeners out there are going, well, wait, they didn't get deep into baseball. Well, you know what? We're sitting here by candlelight with no, and Eric, I would love to have you come back and we'll get deeper into baseball.
All right.
But, I always like to conclude the interview with, a couple of different ways. The first one is to give you an open mic moment if you want to give any shout outs or thanks or words of advice or what have you. The iPhone microphone is yours.
When I have opportunities like this, I basically just want to thank the fans. They've been so nice to me, so tolerant of me in my first few years when I wasn't very good. So warm and friendly to me over the years, so understanding when I took that time off in 2023. It goes for the fans, and it goes for the Ranger organization, too. I've been very fortunate. I've worked for, 5 different ownership groups and 13 managers and 9 general managers and who knows how many general managers of the radio stations that we worked with. And everybody's been wonderful, to exist in a job like this for 47 years in the same place is pretty rare. And you've got to have some really good people that you work with, all the partners that I've had. So I'm just tremendously grateful. And, I just urge people, to have gratitude for whatever it is that you have and don't take things for granted.
Eric Nadel, what's your favorite ice cream?
Mint chocolate chip.
Oh, nice. Yes. Love it.
What's yours?
Mint chocolate chip.
Is it really?
Yes, it is.
I just had the best one I've ever had in Montana at a place called Sweet Peaks.
Huh.
The chips were the perfect size.
Yeah.
The ice cream was really nice and creamy. It was just minty enough.
There's one on there's a West Coast ice cream, Dryers. Now there's Breyers on the East Coast. Right. Dryers on the West Coast makes a wonderful mint chocolate chip.
I'm a big fan of Haagen-Dazs mint chocolate chip. It's not even green. They don't even put the fake coloring in.
Yeah.
And Ben & Jerry's has a great one too. Theirs is green. They have really big chocolate chips. They're actually chunks out of chocolate bars. It's a little bit different, but I really like theirs too.
I always like to conclude with what's called the lightning round. The lightning round gives the listeners out there a true perspective of on the guest. So if you don't mind, these will be fun. These are just 10 this or that questions.
Okay.
It starts off very simple. Night or day?
Day.
Pitcher's duel or high-scoring slugfest?
Pitcher's duel.
High-tech or low-tech?
Low-tech.
Walk-off homer or walk-off bunt?
Walk-off homer.
Work hard or play hard?
Play hard.
MVP hitter or Cy Young pitcher?
Cy Young pitcher.
Laundry or dishes?
Laundry.
Field of Dreams or The Rookie?
Well, my voice was in the Rookie, so I've got to go with the Rookie. I'm still getting $12 checks 3 times a year, so I have to go with that.
Sneakers or sandals?
Sneakers.
Boomstick or Hurtado barbecue?
Hurtado. Big fan of Hurtado.
Yes, there you go. I sure appreciate, especially, to the listeners, we were about 10 seconds away from starting the record process, and the lights went out in the building. And again, we're sitting here huddled in front of an iPhone. I sure appreciate it. Thank you, Eric.
It was a pleasure. This is one I'll always remember. Talk about gratitude. Grateful for a unique experience that was an awful lot of fun.
Next time, again, we'll get deeper into baseball. We'll get deeper into music.
All right.
I'd like to thank Eric Nadel for being so gracious while being interviewed in the dark. Enjoy your Haagen-Dazs mint chip ice cream, Eric. Coming up next week on About Mansfield, we are going to take a walk through the park. Several parks, really. Tune in and take a walk with us. In the meantime, this is the place where you will hear the latest Mansfield news, talk, and information. Until then, don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, engage, connect, amplify, elevate, celebrate, embrace, explore, share, love, or support this podcast if you haven't already, so you never miss an episode. It's free and it's easy. Head on over to our website, aboutmansfield.com. Enter your email address right there on the homepage. We will never, ever, 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 ever send you any spam. That is my promise to you.
About Mansfield is recorded at Podcast Mansfield Recording Studio. Hosts Steve Casillo and Colleen Daniel. Moment with the Mayor feature Michael Evans. Methodist Mansfield News to Know Angel Biasatti. Cultural Arts Calendar Tim Roberts. Cocktail of the Week Brian Certain. Post-production editing, mixing, and mastering Steve Casillo and Andrew Miner.
This podcast is copyrighted by Podcast Mansfield Recording Studio and is intended for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this podcast without written consent is strictly prohibited. We thank you all for listening. On behalf of the entire news team, I'm Steve Casillo, and this is About Mansfield.